Have you ever stopped to think about something that seems so simple that you never even question it? For example, how did early humans figure out where babies come from? I mean, there were no books, no schools, no biology classes, no internet, nothing. And yet, somehow, our ancient ancestors discovered one of the most important facts in human history, generation after generation, across every continent on Earth. So, how? How did they know? The question sounds simple, but the answer is surprisingly fascinating, and it takes us deep into the minds of our ancient relatives while revealing something remarkable about ourselves. Because understanding reproduction wasn't just about curiosity, it was about survival. Imagine waking up in a world with no cities, no hospitals, no written language, no calendars, no mirrors, no privacy. Only your tribe, the forest, the animals, and the constant possibility of death. Every day is a struggle to survive. Find food, avoid predators, stay warm, protect the group, stay alive. But survival isn't only about making it through today. It's also about making sure someone is alive after you're gone. Because if a tribe stopped having children, the tribe disappeared. There was no government to help, no medicine to save a declining population, no backup plan. New life had to be born. Without it, the future simply ended. So, when we say that early humans understood reproduction, what exactly do we mean? We're talking about humans ranging from Homo sapiens, who appeared roughly 300,000 years ago, all the way back to ancient relatives like Homo erectus, who walked the earth nearly 2 million years ago. These were intelligent, observant, and social beings. They made tools. They cooperated in groups. They communicated using some form of language. But there's a huge misconception that needs to be cleared up. Many people assume humans always understood where babies came from. The reality is very different. Ancient humans almost certainly did not begin with a scientific understanding of reproduction. They didn't know about sperm. They didn't know about eggs. They didn't know about chromosomes, genes, or DNA, and they may not have immediately understood that sexual intercourse was directly connected to pregnancy. Why? Because humans have a unique challenge. There is a gap of roughly 9 months between the act and the visible result. Connecting a cause and an effect separated by such a long period requires memory, observation, and reasoning. Those abilities evolved gradually, which means this knowledge didn't appear overnight. It emerged slowly, across thousands of generations. But where did they learn? The answer is simple: nature. For early humans, nature wasn't something they visited. Nature was everything. Every forest was a classroom. Every river was a lesson. Every animal was a teacher. They lived among wildlife every single day. And animals aren't exactly secretive about reproduction. Early humans watched deer mate. They watched wolves raise their pups. They watched birds build nests and care for their young. They watched pregnant animals become heavier and slower. And then, after time passed, they saw newborn offspring appear. Not once, not twice, but again and again. Every season, every year, for thousands of years. Since many animals have much shorter pregnancies than humans, the connection between mating and offspring was easier to notice. Anthropologists believe that observing animals may have been humanity's first and most powerful classroom. The famous cave paintings of Lascaux in France, dating back around 17,000 years, suggest that humans closely observed animals and recorded important details about their lives. Nature wasn't simply their home, it was their living textbook. And slowly, humans began to recognize a pattern. Life comes from life. At first, they may not have understood the hidden biology, but they could see the visible results. A woman was not pregnant. Then time passed. Her body changed, her belly grew, and eventually a baby appeared. The same pattern repeated again, and again, and again, across countless generations. Eventually, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Men and women came together. Women carried new life. Babies were born. The tribe continued. The exact biological mechanism remained hidden, but the outcome was clear. there was also instinct. Humans didn't need a scientific theory to feel attraction. They experienced desire long before they could explain it. In that sense, humans were no different from other animals. A wolf doesn't understand genetics. A bird doesn't understand fertility. A deer doesn't understand pregnancy. Yet life continues. Because nature does not require complete understanding, it only requires behavior. And those instincts were already deeply rooted within our ancestors. But humans possessed something unusual. They didn't simply experience the world, they asked questions about it, they noticed patterns, they remembered events, they connected one observation to another, and they searched for meaning. That curiosity may be one of humanity's oldest traits. It pushed our ancestors to look beyond instinct and wonder why things happened. Birth, death, hunger, pain, love, loss. These weren't just experiences, they were mysteries waiting to be explained. So when did humans begin to understand that human babies came from the same process they observed in animals? The short answer is very slowly, and probably much later than most people imagine. Researchers believe that a clearer understanding likely emerged during the agricultural revolution, around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago. Before that, many societies may have believed that pregnancy resulted from spiritual forces, dreams, ancestors, magic, or mysterious powers within nature. The biological role of males wasn't always fully understood, but everything changed when humans began farming and domesticating animals. When you keep goats, cows, and sheep in controlled environments, and intentionally manage breeding, patterns become much easier to see. Agriculture may have taught humanity an important lesson. Just as planting a seed leads to a crop, a specific action can lead to new life. The connection became harder to ignore. And who carried this knowledge? Who preserved it? Who passed it on? In many cases, women played a crucial role. Older women accumulated knowledge through direct experience. They understood pregnancy in ways nobody else could. They felt their bodies change. They experienced childbirth. They cared for newborns. They witnessed both success and tragedy. And in a world where childbirth could mean life or death, that knowledge was priceless. They learned which signs suggested pregnancy, which practices seemed to help mothers, which dangers needed to be avoided. Long before medicine existed, women carried practical knowledge that helped entire communities survive. For this reason, many ancient cultures viewed elder women as important guardians of reproductive knowledge. But humans don't like unanswered questions. When something appears mysterious, we create stories. Long before science existed, people tried to explain reproduction through myths and beliefs. Some may have connected fertility to the moon. Others may have linked birth to spirits, ancestors, gods, or sacred animals. Different cultures created different explanations, but they all served the same purpose. They helped people understand the unknown. These stories weren't foolish. They were humanity's earliest attempts to explain one of life's greatest mysteries. And this knowledge wasn't stored in books, because books didn't exist. Instead, it lived in human memory. Imagine a cold night thousands of years ago. A fire burns in the darkness. Children sit quietly and listen. Hunters tell stories about what they observed in the wild. Mothers share experience. Elders pass down wisdom gathered over decades. Stories become memory. Memory becomes tradition. Tradition becomes culture. Long before writing, information survived through human voices, generation after generation, for tens of thousands of years. Anthropologists have also discovered fascinating clues about how important fertility and reproduction became in ancient societies. Across Europe, Asia, and Africa, archaeologists have found ancient Venus figurines, some more than 35,000 years old. Many emphasize pregnancy, motherhood, or fertility. These weren't merely decorations. They reflected ideas that people considered important enough to preserve. They show that reproduction wasn't simply a biological process, it was becoming part of culture, identity, belief, and community life. But perhaps the biggest question is, why did humans learn all of this in the first place? Because survival depended on it. Reproduction is the foundation of every species. Without children, there is no future. Groups that better understood pregnancy, childbirth, childcare, and family survival often had an advantage. More children survived, more adults survived, and more survivors meant more future generations. Natural selection didn't just shape human bodies, it also helped shape human knowledge, human traditions, and human culture. Early humans didn't understand reproduction overnight. This knowledge emerged through observation, through instinct, through experience, through stories, through mistakes, through thousands upon thousands of births. They learned from animals, they learned from nature, they learned from one another, and slowly, generation by generation, humanity uncovered one of life's greatest secrets. Today, we explain reproduction with biology, genetics, hormones, and DNA. But ancient humans learned something just as important long before science arrived. They learned by watching, by remembering, by sharing stories, by surviving. They didn't know everything, but they knew enough. Enough to protect mothers, enough to raise children, enough to keep their communities alive, and over thousands of generations, that knowledge passed from one human mind to another. No books, no classrooms, no internet. Just observation, experience, and the endless rhythm of life repeating itself. And perhaps that's the most fascinating part of all. The curiosity that drives us to ask questions today is the same curiosity that helped our ancestors uncover one of humanity's oldest secrets. And maybe that's what truly makes us human. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment and tell me, what question about early humans should we explore next? Like this video, share it with others, subscribe for more ancient human mysteries. See you in the next adventure.